What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very, very wonderful day today, because today I'm here to bring all of you the weekly anime review of Orange. So this is the final anime I have watched today. I have watched everything. I've watched ReZero, Tails, Arslan, Dragon Ball Super, read the Tokyo Ghoul chapter. This is the final thing I have seen today. And what a glorious episode to just tie the ribbon on top. After watching a fantastic ReZero episode, after seeing a glorious chapter of Tokyo Ghoul, after an awesome, action-packed episode of Dragon Ball Super, and some epic pirate versus merchant stuff going on in Arslan, to other series too, like Tails and its great cliffhanger, this episode is the perfect way to end the day. I love ending a day with a slice of life series that's very relaxing, can make you smile, and just realize how great anime can be. Now, obviously, this episode is very mellow, slow-paced, and not everybody's going to really like this episode. But I truly appreciate this episode, and I'm glad I can end the day off with something like this. Instantly, I gotta start off with talking about Suwa. Suwa, I didn't talk about him much last week, which I should have, and I'm going to rectify that and talk about him in this episode. Now, as I said with my last week's episode review, I am now becoming anime only, so I don't know what to fucking expect. So, what I got in this episode, it was new to me as well. And Suwa, as a character, that man needs a medal. He needs a medal, he needs a pat on the back, and he needs to be awarded probably the best support character so far in Orange. What he's doing for Kakeru and Naho, and how he's helping their relationship, I really appreciate that. Now, one thing I do like is just how much of a bro he is, how he's going out of his way to help out Naho and Kakeru and help their relationship bond and form. It makes me happy to see. He's a very mature individual, and he's thinking of their relationship over himself, which is a little bit sad. It really is. And we do know in the future, with the future Naho, he's with her and has a child. And one of the things that this episode does is kind of clarify what is going on here with the different timelines, or the time traveling with the messages, and it makes me happy to see, because one of the things that's been kind of pegging my mind now, since, we found out about Kakeru and how he died, and then how, we know Naho has feelings for him, and Kakeru has feelings for her, but then we know that Naho got with, Suwa. I was questioning, like, okay, so if he, or she's changing the past, wouldn't that mean that her entire relationship and her kid that was born thanks to Suwa, wouldn't that be erased? Like, is she pretty much sending messages to her past self to try to erase her own child and then, her relationship that she currently has? I'm like, that's kind of fucked up that if you think about it a little bit. So, that's really dark. And then we get something that is brought up in this episode. Multiverse. Different parallel universes. And I'm glad this was brought up, because it actually lets us know that no matter what our main female character Naho does, what she changes, it doesn't change the other future that her other self has. And in a way, it's kind of tragic, but it's also good at the same time, because that would mean that the relationship that the future Naho has with Suwa, it's not gone. It's not, wrapped up GG. It's not dead. It actually is still ongoing. Even if, Naho gets with Kakeru and they have a child or something, the other Naho still exists. It's actually there. And I do like this, and I appreciate that, because it wouldn't fit right with me, or I wouldn't feel right if I knew that Naho was rewriting history, and then her future self was completely overwritten, and Suwa was erased and never had a child with Naho at all. I would kind of be upset with that. I really would. So I'm glad to see that this episode does a much needed clarification on how kind of maybe the time traveling works. Now, one of the things that was brought up in this episode, and Naho mentioned it, like, she asked, does my future self know about the possibility of the different parallel timelines? Like, does she know? And if so, did she send the messages willingly knowing that she couldn't change what already happened, but she wanted to change a different timeline? Was that like the reason? And if so, I'm actually kind of happy to hear that, because that would mean that the future self, the Naho, she was very mature, she knew what she already regretted she couldn't get rid of, but she wanted at the very least to save another version of herself from going through the exact same thing, and I respect that quite a bit. That's a little bit of a layer of characterization to Naho and her future self. So, one of the things building up in this episode is the romance. And a little bit of drama here and there, but there's actually 3 big critical points in this episode. 1, drama. You have it to where these girls are trying to start shit in conflict with Naho Naho after Naho's getting, you know, really romantic with Kakaru. And then you have Suwa being a bro, trying to help out the relationship throughout the entire episode, and other, you know, friends of their group, you know, trying to point out, like, oh yeah, obviously you love Naho, and how Kakaru was talking to him as well. And then Kakaru trying to slowly ease in and try to get with Naho as a girlfriend. And you see that throughout this entire episode of how, you know, Naho's helping him out, giving him a bath towel where he can dry off. And then you have to where Kakaru's like, hey, I would like it if you continued making me food. You know, could we, you know, go to the pool together or whatever. I really like the entire scene, the way this episode was orientated, showcasing this gradual romantic build-up between these two characters. And it was such a sweet episode. It was a very, very sweet episode. Adorable, even. And I just can't wait to see where it's going to go. I mean, there's a lot of good moments, a lot of happy moments, especially when you see, like, Suwa at the end, where he smiles after being thanked by Naho. It's such a good moment. I'm glad he got thanked, because that man, he deserved it after doing all he did. Stopping, you know, what was about to happen to Naho, having, like, her hairpin completely destroyed or removed. I'm glad, you know, he stopped it before something really happened. There was actually drama that was kind of just completely avoided in this episode. So yeah, it was a very well done episode. I cannot wait to see where it's going to go next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.